Okay, this is part 3. We talked before about a little bit about the stack and how difficult it is. So here was the last question about employees you have to hire and the problems you will have to let them leave and how to hire them. Here's the question again, and let's follow the conversation.
Thrift is a Facebook product. Then my is that we got the TFE, we got the GraphQL, we got the Part Fixer, we got the Ranker, we got the Manhattan Database, we got the Strato, we got the TweetPy, we got the Gizmo Duck, we got the Twitter Memcache. And wait till you find out that all built on top of Sinatra and Eagle, which is entirely custom Twitter open source Scala project. Yeah, I get that. My point is that if you have all of this custom and not like super standardized products, then 80% of your workforce happens to leave. Now, how much more difficult is it for new people or like even existing people to work with that infrastructure and be able to iterate on it, much less like refactor it? I mean, I can do it. It takes 6 months. There is. So, George, you mentioned that at Facebook everything could run locally.
So about how long it would take, I think this is 6 months is a little bit too fast. I think you really want to understand the whole system. It takes maybe a year, and everything you need it takes years. For specific projects, I think you can. That is maybe the only way you can do it. You sync it for specific change. You look at the specific parts. You study that with a team, and other teams do other pieces, and then if you work on this change or or make the solution for your problem, talk with other teams if that has any influence on their work, and that's maybe how you can do the fastest changes in the software. But a new hire, just let him loose and let him by himself figure out the system. That is very difficult. I had to do it in the old days by banks and by other big projects that where no documentation was because it was all by vendors. It is a really hellish job. And if you are good, it can take you maybe a few months to do something specific, but to really understand it, it takes half a year or a year. Let's continue.
I worked at companies where we had a dedicated team just for developer experience. And their job was like literally to dockerize and containerize everything and just make the app run to people that can code. And it just sounds like Twitter's lacking that. Yeah, you want to hire those people for Twitter? I think Twitter's definitely lacking that. So,
how far are you guys away from having an engineer, like a new engineer on day one, just walk in, go through quick orientation, and then get like a single dev instance running and just being able to submit a PR on the same day, or maybe the same.
A dev instance? No, Twitter doesn't believe in that. We have prod, and sometimes any kind of work. It is.
So what is this dev and prop? Dev is mean the development environment. So if before you run software, you have a developer environment, you can run and test everything. And normally you have a test environment and a production environment. So normally in the software development for live things like banks or live applications, you have 1 or 2 developers environments. You have the test environment, and you have the produce environment. So developers test, or the vendors test in the test environment, or they make not in test environment, they in developer development. They develop in a developer environment, and if it is committed to the software is committed for that it is finished, the milestone is reached, it goes to a test, and then they use external test people to test to enter data or a group that tests the software, and if that is done, they check again for all the loggings if everything is okay, and then they make it a nice package, and if there are other releases at the same time, they have to also test with the test again with all the other releases at the same time, and then after this package is done, they push it to production, and that is what they are talking about. And the joke is that they don't have any test environment or development environment, they directly program in the real environment, the production environment, and that is something that's not done. Let's continue.
I think to your point, it takes a while. There's so much custom stuff that just understanding where everything is and how it all connects, I think takes at least a few weeks. So I think it would be difficult to be productive, without at least a month of intense effort. I mean, and that would be like you're really good at software if you can do something useful in a month.
I think I understand most of it, but I think a lot of the problems are not a question of understanding. I think they're of just toolings and workflows. The fact that I can't stand up Twitter anywhere except for the data center. For example, some services when you develop them,
Here she comes again.
you have to update path. It's a 1.6 gigabyte binary. It has to upload to the data center. That takes 20 minutes. And then you unpack it, and then, 30 minutes later, you tested your one-line change, and you made a typo.
Yeah, I would say it's basically to George's point, which is a good point, is that there's so much complexity and so much interaction across so many different levels that to make progress is very difficult. Progress is being made, but it is very difficult to make progress. When you touch like one element of the system, it affects like 17 other elements. So, like one argument in favor of, say, a whole bunch of microservices is if they are truly independent, you can add additional microservices without affecting the rest of the system. But that is not the case of Twitter.
So what they want to say is that if you have you write software and you change, you have to of course look at what is the influence on the other pieces of software. So you have to have tests of the whole software, piece of software, and so that you can see what is the influence or what is the effect of the software on the functional, that there's not a bug somewhere coming. And the main problem, one of the solutions is you use services. What is the idea of it? They use this. You make resources like a database or some data places, and these services can run independent from the whole system, and they just gather their information, and then the service can then give it to another application or show it or can be used. So normally these services are totally independent from other services or from other pieces of the software. So if it means that these services are depending from other things, it means that the whole setup of services is wrong, and that is also something you have to refactor again. So there are more problems than you would expect at Twitter, and it looks like a big spaghetti monster.
Like I said, we have this challenge of trying to add view counts to tweets, which I think is really going to make the site pop, because you'll see just how many people actually view your tweets. This is completely normal for video. So if you look at even a video on Twitter, it'll actually show you how many views the video's gotten, and that gives you some indication of the popularity of the video, how interested are people in the video. So Twitter has views for videos, but does not have views for tweets. So you can tweet something and think, man, did anyone it was like a tweet fell in the forest and nobody heard it? Did anyone see my tweet? Actually, lots of people saw your tweet, but you don't know because they didn't want to put themselves out there by actually liking it or retweeting or replying. So the site will pop in a big way just showing view count of tweets. And people realize, holy smoke, a lot of people actually seeing my tweet. That's cool. And then, like I said earlier, we need to add functionality where you can like a tweet without advertising the fact that you liked it to the world, or being able to say that maybe you didn't like it in a I love that thing happened, like the earthquake example. You don't love earthquakes, but it's noteworthy, certainly, and it's pretty hard.
No, what it means with a like is just you like the news. Like if I see somebody reporting on something very distressed, then I think I like the reporting. So if there's an earthquake and you see a movie of a terrible the images of an earthquake, you like it because you appreciate that somebody shared this video and you could consume it and you can take notice of it. So that is not more like a like or I love it sign, more appreciation sign.
Earthquake, that's weird. So, you want to have more fidelity in how you think of a tweet, and you want to have the option of making that how you feel about that tweet public or non-public. That's like pretty obvious stuff. But making those changes to the existing Twitter system is very difficult.
Why not refactor and make the changes later? Why do they need to be done now?
I think we need to make some improvement in the near term, and I think we can make some improvement in the near term.
So I ran it log this morning, and I looked at how many commits are going into the code base and what they actually are. Huge green diffs.
For Vue.js or for something else?
All sorts of things. Maybe 10% of them are Vue.js related.
Okay.
But all of these other ones are they're still green diffs for a lot of people writing a lot of code. Today,
the green diff what he's talking about, if you have like you have software and people are developing the software, they have their own version of the software locally, and there is this place where the software is like accumulated, where there's the real software or there's a copy of a real version, and what all the developers do, they write their software and they commit it to this temporary software version, and also this is done so that it doesn't collide with other software. And what are these diffs? The diffs are that you can see how your software is different from the software that is that is the previous standard or the now standard. So all the diffs means that all these projects that are running have all changes at the moment. So there are a lot of changes. So the software with the people are working a lot of making a lot of changes in the software. So that means there is still a lot of activity in the development of the software.
Timeline Mixer was quote unquote deprecated for Home Mixer. Right?
Yeah.
It's deprecated for Home Mixer.
Yeah.
Was Timeline Mixer deleted? Oh no! Now we have both Timeline Mixer and Home Mixer.
So this is also a problem. What do you do with the old software? If you have a lot of old software, you have to remove it. Remove the functions. So you find all the where all these old functions are called. You remove it, or you ram it out, and you place the new function on it. That it is now a deprecated version or something. And if you keep this old software in there, but just make it not usable, or you make it like invisible, this will increase your code base. Makes it slower for development and for checking, but also if you're checking for specific code or searching, it means you can end up in this old code and you think, oh, this is active code, but it is in reality deprecated or not used code anymore. So remove as soon as possible code that is not used in your developer stack.
They're running simultaneously?
Yes!
Well, it's just not very meaningful to deprecate something if it's still running, obviously.
Yeah, exactly what I'm saying, right? Nothing gets actually deprecated in Twitter. So Twitter has 3 APIs, and you can find this on public Twitter. If you go to Chrome Inspector, Twitter has a 1.1 API, a 2.0 API, a GraphQL API. It also has 1.1 developer and 2.0 developer. It has 5 APIs that I can find. And then there's other ones people are talking about too that I don't know how to find because I don't have the Android emulator on my computer. This stuff needs to be cleaned up, and no one's doing it.
Isn't it? It's pretty kind of.
Mind if I ask a question?
So all these versions, so there is no version committee, or there are no people, at least the higher management of the software manager has to have the power of all these versions, and they have to have a group of engineers of the different departments of the development that decide which version will be the released versions and which versions can be removed and what the